Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Chicago Blackhawks franchise mode here in NHL 23. So, first and foremost, before we get into this offseason, I do want to apologize if you hear my computer chugging in the background. It's because I'm literally uploading a video as I'm recording this episode, trying to multitask a little bit, but anyways, if you didn't catch the last episode, we basically made a few changes to our team and we simulated the rest of the season trying to tank and basically see how bad we finish. Now, we got really lucky and we managed to finish with top 5 odds in the draft. And unfortunately, we fell back a spot, but we do still have the 4th overall selection in this year's draft, which is the highest we've drafted in quite some time. So I'm really hoping that we get a good prospect in that will help out our team drastically by quite a bit, because obviously at the moment I think we still have a really good roster, but I think we just need that one really good piece to help bring this team together more. Obviously we do still have like Vance and Reefers and whatnot, but Reefers is on decline. Vance is likely going to be on decline soon too, so it's best that we get a young guy in that's going to be a really good player and start developing really well to help take this team to the next level for these last remaining seasons. Also, you can see we still have good young guys like Burish and whatnot to build around, so I think this team is definitely still going to be really good eventually. Well, not still be really good. They're going to be very good in this upcoming season potentially, and seasons to come, I would say, as well. But obviously we do have quite a bit of changes we need to make as well, because I think we are also going to have to probably make a change on our back blue line, just because of the fact we do have a defenseman who is unsigned, who is now ready to jump up into our top 4. So I say that there is a good chance that I might be looking at trading away either somebody like Del Monte or Hutton, because these guys, they're both pending RFAs. And I'd like to keep, I think, Tkachuk, because Tkachuk seems he's been the best out of the 3. So we'd probably have like Jokela, Tkachuk, Brunstrom, this new top 4, and Kelpinen. We'd have Emiliano Hutton. And then we'd probably have either Leonardo Knights or also Kamachi, one of the two of those guys. But I think our defensive core will go through a little bit of changes. I might be looking also to trade away Torres this offseason, maybe in the free agent department, maybe in the draft. Maybe we trade him then. But he might get dealt because of the fact that Tayukin is up to an 87 overall and ready to take that starting job from him. So there is going to be definitely a decent amount of changes to this team. But at the same time, I think that we're going through like a tiny little bit of a retool. And then I think we're going to be a good team. And hopefully Vance and whoever we draft high up is able to take us to that next level. But anyways, before we get into the draft and re-sign stage, I do have a couple comments to go over. So the first one is from Saturn Otaku, who says, Coburn looks like a really solid player. I don't think you need to trade any assets to move up unless there's a chance that one of the 3 AI teams ahead of you might grab him instead. And I totally agree with that. Coburn looks like he's going to be a really good pick if we are able to get him at number 4. As you can see, he is listed as a power forward as well, so likely he will have some good goal scoring ability. Now, we could always try and move up to grab him a little bit earlier, but I feel like it's probably going to go this order just because Central Scouting has him ranked still at 4, so likely Haskins number 1, Boyd number 2, and then Blomstrand number 3, and then we'd grab Coburn at 4, which I think should be a really good steal for us. And then the last and final comment is from Michael Dost, who says, Coburn at 4 would be solid. Trade some of those 3rd rounders maybe to move up late in the 1st round or early 2nd round pick if there's someone in that area. And I think I totally agree with that, because we have like 4 3rd round picks, I believe, and most of them are late 3rd rounders. So I think we might be able to package that with our own 2nd rounder to get a late 1st round pick. Now, I haven't taken a look yet to see if there's anybody worth trading up to get, but we will definitely look to do that, because you can see we have already the 2nd overall pick in the 2nd round, so we could either get somebody with this pick, or we could use that with, like, say, our 3rd rounder or any of these late 3rd rounders, and we could probably move up decently high up into the late stages of the 1st round. So we'll have 2 1st rounders instead of just the 1. But we got to take a look and see if there's anybody worth actually drafting around that stage, so we could see where we would trade up for. So that's what we're going to do to start off this episode, is do a little pre-scouting if there is anything that is worth trading up to get. Let's see. 2 years out potentially on Ross Dykhouse. Most of these guys are looking like top 6 forwards, which is not really exactly what I would want to trade up for, but at this stage we might just have to do it anyways. Top 4, that's 3 years out. Another top 6, that's also 3 years out. Not really seeing any like low late steals for this first round, unfortunately. Like some years you get those type of guys, but this year it looks like it's not going to be a really good late first round, to be honest, because you got like some top 9s and some top 6Ds as well. So I don't really know if it's actually worth trading up. Like, we might have to just... Oh, okay, never mind. We found our guy. We found our guy, Magnus Oman. He's a 1 year out. And he might be medium elite. I don't think he's going to be medium elite, or else he'd go much higher. But he's 1 year out. Yeah, so that's definitely who I would run and grab. We could easily grab him with our own second rounder is the thing. Because our own second rounder would be at number 34. So I don't think I would really need to move up in order to get Omen, is the thing. Is there anybody else that's worth moving up, though, to get? Ellington, who's a top 6. He's a grinder. Interesting. Let's take a look and see if we can find anything else that's maybe worth moving up for. If it's not, we could easily trade away all of our third rounders, almost, or like a good chunk of third rounders to get a second rounder for next year instead. And then maybe that second rounder is better. That we can use that to move up, you know. This Klingberg buy is okay, but he's 4 years out, which is kind of late for this franchise mode. There is also this lowly power forward we're looking at, Dallas Bruce, who's supposed to go, I guess that is second round. So maybe we do want to trade 2 of our second rounders, or not second rounders, 2 of our third rounders to get maybe a late second for next year, if we can. So basically we hold on to 2 second rounders and we grab both these guys that we're looking at. And then we also grab that guy first round. Yeah, I think that might be the play, is to basically trade 2 of those third rounders to get a second rounder for next year instead. Because we could basically grab, let's see, we could grab that one guy with our pick here, for sure. I think, actually not right here, there is where I mean. So I'll be able to grab both those 2 guys we're looking at, the 1 year out guy and the other guy. And then we'd basically, with our third rounder, actually no, it's not multiple second rounders, we'd have to get another second rounder to get that other dude if we'd want to, which we could potentially get if we move, like, say, the second and the 22nd in the third round, and then the 25th and 28th, we'd probably could trade away for a future year or something like that. That might be where we want to end up doing. Let's see, that other guy I've just pinned. Yeah, because I want Bruce, kind of, so we'll have to see where that pick is overall-wise, because I wouldn't mind getting Dallas Bruce and then just trading those other third-rounders away and getting a second-rounder for next year. So that way, we have a higher-up pick next year, and maybe we use that to move out for something instead. Some good asset management, I think. So, yeah, let's get into this draft and see if we're able to do that. So, we wanted mid-second rounder. When is Bruce supposed to go again, though? Just so I kind of have an idea of where I need to trade for. Like 61 to 67. Okay, so we might want like early 60s. That's actually early third round almost. Yeah, that's actually the third round pick. So we actually might be able to grab him with our own pick as well. Which means I would be able to trade away these other 3 thirds. We'll see what happens. We might be able to grab all the players we want with our picks, which is good. So let me go to the third round for a second. Anaheim does want to trade the first pick in the third round. So we have 32 picks here. Then we have 64, 65, 66. So we're drafting at 66 overall, correct? Let me just make sure. 66th overall with our third rounder. Yes. We're drafting 66th overall in the third round with our first pick. And Dallas Bruce is projected to go right in that range. He's supposed to go as high as 61, though, is the only thing. So he might actually be a second rounder. So we might want to trade those 2 thirds to get a late pick here. So let's see. Let's make a trade with the New York Rangers. Why not? We've made trades with them in the past, so should be able to get something done to get that guy. So we will give you our third rounder there at 66, and we'll give you 80. Maybe I'll give them a later one. Then I can move 86 and 89 in one deal. Yeah, we'll see if I'm able to move a later round pick. That might be actually a decent chunk more than I need to. Maybe I'll add my 4th rounder instead, and we could just move the 3 thirds in their own deal. So 66 and 98 for 55. Will that work? That's accepted. Okay. There we go. So we moved up a couple spots to get that Dallas Bruce guy. Now is the thing where we want to try and find a way to get rid of these 3 third-round picks. Because we could get rid of those 3 third-round picks technically, and there is also other players we could get rid of on the defensive side, like I was saying before, that we could use to get something good if we really want to. Because I don't really know about holding on to somebody like Del Monte, to be honest. Because with that jump up from Kaupinen, it knocks somebody out. So Hutton has less trade value, which is kind of weird, but he's got a better potential technically, and he's 1 year younger. So there is multiple teams interested in all that stuff probably. So let's go to the find trade option here and see what we could get for all those assets. If there's somebody that's willing to throw me a crazy offer, because I am all ears. I'm trying to find any way possible to turn this team into being something crazy. I didn't want to go to that screen, but okay. Thank you, game. Hopefully we can find something crazy cool for a trade. So we want that Del Monte gone, basically. And then we would be trading our 3 third-round picks as well. What do people have for those? 2 second-round picks. Yeah, 22nd overall pick in this year's draft. Wow. And then I could use that to trade away. Wow, this is a lot more value than I thought. 17th overall and a 3rd-round pick. 14th overall in this year's draft. Damn, okay. Is there anybody that's worth getting around that spot? And Haskins was an 84. Jeez, yeah, I thought he was going to be a high overall like that. So there is Isaiah Haskins. But is there anybody worth drafting at like number 15? I don't think there is. It's probably just going to be a top 6 forward. Yeah, so it's probably like guys like Gerby, which are all 3 years out. And we don't know if Dykos is actually that good, so... this guy has an X factor, which is kind of nice, but... yeah, I don't know if any of those guys are really worth moving up to get, so... I would prefer to probably trade it away for something else. Let's go to the trading thing again. I don't know if we are going to be necessarily trading away one of those defensemen in this episode, but I mean, I don't mind the offers of moving him and the thirds for this year, because I have no use for them. So let's see if we can get any other offers which are intriguing. Let's see. Nobody's ready to get rid of a roster player. There's Tutu, but he's making $14 million, so I don't really want that. 14th overall is kind of nice. We could move that to another team to get a first rounder for next year instead. Yeah, that might be actually a play. You know what? I think I'm going to try and finesse something up here. We're going to trade Del Monte to Tampa Bay. We're going to take that 14th overall pick and immediately flip it to a team that wants 14th overall. And then we're gonna try and get a first rounder for next year from a team that's not doing as well, and then maybe we get something good with it. So Del Monte, good luck in Tampa Bay. I'm trying to figure something out here, and hopefully it's good. So now we have 14th overall, and obviously we do not really need 14th overall. Who is interested in pick 14? We could get Varakis a third and Allen. We could get Lane Weeks back. 2 second rounders for... that's a bad offer. That is a bad offer. Not a lot of good offers. Let's try and make a trade of our own here. See if we can find somebody that has interest in pick 14. It's not the best draft class, so it might not have as much value as we were hoping. But let's see. I didn't want to go back to that. Let's just go to normal trade options and offer a trade. Boston's going to pick soon, so we might as well sim their pick. They grab Boyd, 2nd overall. 81 overall for the sniper. There's Lincoln Boyd, in case you guys wanted to take a look. He's really good. Might honestly be like Asher Vance at some point. But yeah, let's try and trade away this 14th overall pick, because I don't really need a top 6 forward prospect. Yes, it sucks to trade away Del Monte, but Kaupinen knocked him out, so... who is interested in this? Boston's interested in this, but do you have your pick for next year? You do not. Who has interest in this? Columbus. You have a first rounder for next year, but it's way more valuable. Yeah, see, I don't know if we're going to be able to flip it for a pick next year. I mean, we could, but we'd have to maybe add something to it. Who else has interest? Minnesota. Like, we're basically just doing a pick swap at this stage. Or we could try and find something in an area we need. Wow. Ottawa's got a shit ton of picks this year. Oh, yeah, because, wait, why does Ottawa have so many third-round picks? Between us and them, we had a lot of first-rounders, or third-rounders. This one's a little bit closer. What if I add in my third rounder for next year from Colorado? Will I be able to get your first rounder for Ottawa for next year? Rejected, okay. How about if I throw in my second rounder for next year? So basically, I might be moving up. This might be a huge risk because this pick might be higher up than 14th overall. It might be lower though. So that's why I'm trying to make something a little bit risky, but maybe worth it. Because if this ends up getting a shit ton of value, that might be insanely good for us. We have multiple third rounders for next year as well. Jeez, okay. We'll package up some third rounders for next year into this deal as well. I don't have any need for all those third rounders. So first, second, and a third for a first rounder. You do not want to accept it. So I guess you must be thinking you are not going to be good. Which means let's add another third rounder into this deal. They are still not willing to accept it. How about 3 third rounders? Do you want 3 third round picks? I'm just giving you all the picks, Ottawa. That's rejected too. So they probably want multiple first rounders for this. It's not ideal. I could give you a second for a year in the future as well instead. So it's 2 seconds and a first for a first. Wow, okay. We're going to find a way to do this. We are going to find a way. We might have to make our selection soon though. But I think this might be a risk, but it might be worth it. And there goes Blomstrand to the Flyers, which means we are on the clock with the 4th overall selection. There is Blomstrand going 3rd overall to the Flyers. Looks pretty good. And now is the time where we get our player, which means I think he's going to be the same overall as Boyd, likely. So Haskins, Boyd, and then our boy Coburn should be the same overall round. And then Blomstrand's the weakest out of the top 4, more than likely. So here we go, Curtis Coburn. Hopefully this is a good start to this team for next year. He's NHL ready. He's like Owen Nolan. Might be more physical than offensive, but let's take him. Curtis, welcome to Chicago. And he's an 81 overall power forward. Pretty good. He has no zone ability, which is very odd. But he's already listed as a third-line scoring forward. He's got really good shooting, but no shooting X factors. His offensive awareness is a little bit low, but I mean, he should turn out to be a really solid player for us next year. So, very excited for that. Very excited for that. We have not drafted that good of a player in quite some time, so let's continue to try and work a deal with the Ottawa Senators, because they aren't doing good right now. They have the 5th overall pick this year, so they know that they're not going to be a good team next year necessarily. So that's why I'm trying to finesse their pick so we get a really high up pick. And maybe we are able to flip that for something insanely good next year. That's probably why they don't want to move it. It's because they know they're going to be crap. But I am giving them another first rounder for this year, which could work in their favor too. So we'll give you our second for next year. We will give you our second for the year afterwards. And we'll give you 2 third-round picks. So you're basically getting a shit ton of picks for another pick. Still rejected. Okay, we might have to give them an actual roster player in this deal. Or a prospect or something that we don't need. Trying to see what they want, though. Gudobin, we could give them one of the medium elite goaltenders. I could give them one of the medium elite goaltenders. I don't want to give them Brookbank necessarily. But I could give them one of the elite goaltenders. I think I'm going to give them Kudobin. Yeah, I'm going to give them Kudobin in this deal. And we'll get rid of our second rounder. And we'll see if we're able to finesse anything into this deal. But yeah, we're just doing a bunch of nonsense trades technically, but at the same time it might work out. So, because who knows at this stage what is good and what's not. So, a first and a third for a medium elite goalie prospect in 14th overall. This might also help out Ottawa goaltending wise, which would be beneficial for them. That's rejected, so let's get rid of the third rounder. That's also rejected, so I guess I will have to throw in my second rounder for next year. That should work. And it isn't going to work. Wow. Yeah, I don't know about Ottawa. Maybe we'll have to try and flip it to another team instead. But I really just want to make something work here. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to work with Ottawa. Let's see if there's any other teams. Philly's interested in this pick. Ottawa's going to be making their selection soon, and they just did. They grab a top 6 forward prospect. Oh my goodness, Ottawa. Yikes. And it's a grinder. Jason Dorsett. Yikes. After the guy we just drafted, that's not a great pick there. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. This episode's already like 20 minutes in, and we haven't even gotten really that far in this draft, but I don't really care because I'm trying to just find any way possible to get this team the best chance to be a good team soon. Let's see. 14th overall. We'll give you a second rounder for next year. And hey, take all our third rounders for next year as well. 3 of our third rounders for next year. Rejected, okay. What if we add, do you have any interest in any prospects we're not going to be using? Yes, you have interest in Khudobin as well. Let's see if that works. That's rejected. I think the game knows that I'm just trying to cheese it. Add a third rounder into this deal. Still rejected. Okay. So it looks like these teams that want the picks are kind of rebuilding teams. That's why they're not willing to give up a lot. Or they're not willing to give up their first rounders for next year. We'll try with Vancouver. Come on, Vancouver. How about this? And how about Khudobin? How about Khudobin? Rejected. I might have to trade this pick away to a different team that's not a playoff team. Let's see about Washington. Their first rounder for next year isn't as valuable, I think, it looks like. So we might be able to swing something here. We'll give you a third rounder for next year. So a first and a third to move up potentially next year. No. How about a second rounder? Would you take that? No, you will not. How about a, let's see, skaters matching block. Anybody that I do not have any use for. Holden. Holden's a low top 6 prospect. I have no use for you. We'll give you Holden on top of this. Too far off. I am kind of surprised. We might have to give up our own first rounder, but that's kind of way too risky. Especially if we miss the playoffs. So we'll give you a second. We'll give you a third. And we'll give you another second. How about that? For a first rounder. Too far off. Well, how is this too far off? I feel like I'm giving a good offer. What if I go to open block and find an offer instead with Washington? What are they wanting for their first round pick next year? There's got to be a team out there that's willing to trade me their first rounder for next year. But they might be more of a contender. Brookbank and Hutton. Well, I don't want to move out Hutton. I don't want to move out Brookbank, so that's not going to work. Interesting. So they're trying to get a couple prospects. Let's take a look and see what Ottawa would want for their first rounder next year. It's probably more valuable, though, my guess. I apologize if this part's a lot of just boringness, but I'm trying to cheese the AI maybe a little bit. Coburn. You want Coburn for next year's pick? Oh my goodness. I literally just drafted the guy 4th overall. How about Philly? I'm going to guess you're in the same type of boat. Yeah, you're in the same type of boat. I ain't moving Coburn. I literally just drafted that kid. But thank you, though. Let's take a look at teams that weren't interested in 14th overall. Wow. A lot of teams value their first rounder for next year quite a bit. Rizzy, I'm okay with moving. Khudobin, I'm fine with moving. And a second rounder, I'm okay with moving. But I do want to move our first rounder this year. Which means I want to get rid of Khudobin. Rizzy, I don't know if he has really much of a home here. Like, we traded for this guy, but he's going to get lost in the chaos, I think. How good is his shooting? Pretty good, but what if I just gave you our first rounder for this year, or for next year, or not our first? What is it that I wanted to give up again? Oh yeah, our first rounder this year at 14th overall, because we aren't using that pick. You guys want this? No, you do not, apparently. Yeah, we'll give you one of our prospects in the deal then. Just because we're nice. We will give you Rizzy. So that way maybe we have a better chance of getting a higher up pick at 14th in the next year. There you go. So that's a little bit of a weird trade. We trade a 14th overall pick and a prospect that could end up making it and being decent, but we get another first rounder next year that might be a better pick. It might be worse, and then that trade's going to look worse. But if that value goes up on this trade, that's first round pick for next year, and Pittsburgh misses the playoffs, we could use that to trade for something really good. So, or we could draft something really good too. So, kind of a weird trade deadline draft so far for us, but that is what we're going to do. Let's sim to our second rounder because we do got some guys we have interested in drafting, including this Omen guy who's going to be probably a really good prospect, my guess. He's supposed to be almost NHL ready, so he might be in the AHL right away. So Magnus Omen, welcome to Chicago. He's a 74 overall, top 6 forward, so sucks that he's only top 6, but 74 overall for a second rounder is pretty good. He's a two-way forward. Might be more of a bottom 6 kind of guy for us, but I will take it. That is decent. And now we should be able to grab our other guy in Bruce, who is the low elite, potentially a power forward. So excited to see what he's like, and hopefully he can make the NHL decently quick. Welcome aboard, Dallas. He's a 62 overall, low elite power forward, so there you go. We get a couple of good power forwards. He has his own ability, though. So that's actually pretty nice. Big tipper, truculence, unstoppable force, relentless, and back at you. So there we go. I don't know if I really care about too much of the rest of this draft, because we only have a 5th, 6th, and 7th now. I will take a look and see if there's anything available at those picks, but I think we had a pretty good draft. We got ourselves a first rounder for next year that could be a wild card. And we grabbed ourselves some good players in this draft as well. Quinn Danner, 5 years out at 20. Yeah, I think the rest of this draft is a crapshoot. We could draft ourselves a goalie because there has been more good goalies in this draft. I think there's a medium elite goalie right there. Might as well take him. Philippe Hanzus, 4 years out at 18. Might as well. We do already have a lot of goalies, but might as well add another one. So there we go. We are killing this draft, I'd say. And then hopefully that first rounder next year becomes something insanely good. If not, we could easily trade it away still and get somebody good at the deadline to give us a better chance in the playoffs still. So, because I think this team hopefully changes course next year. Mind you, it might change in the bad way. It might make it worse. Okay, let's see what else we got here. There's a low top 9. Not really that interesting. Might be main elite endowment. Probably not, though. There's another medium elite gem goalie in Sasaki. Let's take him for the trade value. Let's just completely go on cheese AI mode, because we'll end up using these guys as trade bait and helping us get more good players in potentially. Because we definitely want to win one more Stanley Cup if we can before the end of the series. And we will list him with our last pick since he's a gem. And he's also a low elite 50 overall sniper. So what a draft for us. Because if we look at our draft summary, look at that. Look at that. We got our medium elite though earlier. It doesn't show him for some reason on this board. But we did grab afterwards a top 6 forward who's a high overall. We grab a low elite, a medium elite, and a low elite. So we're doing our best to rework the prospect pool a little bit. And I think that was a fun draft. Very excited to see what Coburn could do next season. I don't really know if there's anything we need to do in terms of free agency. I am going to let these goalie coaches and associate coaches walk. We could find some new ones next episode. And we will re-sign all our scouts because obviously the scouts is a little bit more of something that's not going to impact our team. It is going to impact our drafts, but not the roster itself. We might as well change up our coaching staff a bit this offseason. I don't know about getting rid of Kopitar still yet, but it honestly might be something we need to look to. I am very excited, though, to see what some of these young guys could do. into our roster, because I think now it gives us a better chance of being more competitive for the last like 6 years plus. Because we have Kapanen jumping to the NHL as a rookie this year. We have this guy we drafted 4th overall. We have that 74 who could play in the AHL right away, which is great if we want to. So it should be pretty interesting. Okay, Resign stage. I know this is a long episode. I apologize again, but it is what it is. Oh yeah, we have some tough decisions. I am going to... Kapanen is a UFA because of him playing in Finland. There you go. There's his ELC. Huxley, we're going to qualify you. Burrish, we're just going to qualify all the RFAs, I think, at this stage. Because I don't feel like locking a lot of these guys up. So, we'll just qualify all of the RFAs. Laxo as well. Visakis. We're going to let go of these prospects. These guys ain't going to make it. No low 7th D is going to make it on my team. Medium top 9, 68 at 20 in Valahadi. When did I draft him? 5th round. Looks okay, but he's probably going to be more of an AHL top 6. I might still sign him just to give more depth to the AHL team, so there you go. I will be letting go of Klimchuk, though, I think, because he's not really worth re-signing for the AHL team. Canzanella is going to get his ELC. He'll play in the AHL next year. And, yeah, we'll probably let go of Bilas then, because he's been there for a while. I'll try and keep Ribeiro, Hemingway, Shea, those guys together, because those guys have been in the AHL for quite some time. We'll sign them for 1-year deals only, though, just to make sure our AHL team has a good chance at a Calder Cup for next year. McNabb, same type of boat, 1-year deal, because these guys are all like fringe NHLers. Knighty wants a 1-way deal. Oh, that's not great, because he's been there a long time, and he wants to just keep playing in the NHL now. Generous. Wow, okay, that's a lot of money. Yeah, I think I'm going to let go of Generous, who is a depth forward signing for now. I am going to let go of Komachi, I think, for now as well. Because I think I would prefer to play the OFD that we just have played last year. Leonardo Knights. Yeah, I think Komachi's gone for now. He might come back, but for now he's gone. And Brossois like the big one to re-sign. Tayukin as well. Can I get Tayukin on a decent deal? I feel like oh yeah, we didn't even trade that goaltender yet. What do we want to do with Torres? That's something we might have to do in next episode, is trade away Torres and sign ourselves a backup. Because I think Tayukin's going to be the starting guy. So, I'm going to see if he'll accept a 5x5. Because I want to have a goalie locked up a little bit of term-wise. But I think I might be looking at getting rid of that other goalie we signed last year. So 5x5, we'll see if Tayukin wants that. I think it's a decent offer. And if we go to unsigned, obviously we're signing Coburn up. Omen, I don't know if I'm going to sign yet. I'm going to leave this up to you guys. Should we sign Omen for the AHL? Should we sign him? Also, should Dallas Bruce get signed for the AHL? Yeah, the other guy's probably not yet. We have a lot of medium only goalies too. So there's RFA-wise. Corey, 1-year deal for the AHL. I don't think I could bring Knighty back, to be honest. He's been a great long-term AHL player, but I don't think I could bring him back for the NHL. He played 45 games this year. Was not very good. But yeah, Zachariah, 90, you're gone. Best of luck in free agency, man. And Brossois is the interesting one. Let's advance today, see if we get all these guys, because I'm curious on all these dudes first. And then I might have to hold on to Brossois, because Brossois might be a solid second line kind of guy, or first line kind of guy. All those guys I think accepted almost, except for Corbett and Corey. And Tayukin did not like 5x5. How about 5x5.5? Trying to find any way to kind of like lock him up, because I know locking up a goalie to a contract early is probably important, because obviously I don't want to be paying him $8-9 million. I would rather do a 5x5.5. So Let's just give him a bunch of 5s, and I think he'll accept it. Those guys could say all qualified. I guess Bursch would technically be a UFA next year, right? No, he's got 1 more year of RFA status. Okay, that's good. The only ones that would be pending UFA is Brown and Visakis. So you guys, let's see if I can get you still on a good contract for the AHL. Let's give you a little bit more money to hopefully accept a good AHL contract. Help out with the youth down there. Hey, what is Brossoit wanting? 9.3. I might honestly hold on to Brossoit for 1 year because that's not really that bad. We have a lot of flexibility cap-wise, I think, as well. So I might hold on to him. But let's just see if all these guys accept here first. Okay, so Corbett rejected. Let's give him max AHL contract. If he doesn't accept that, he might have to go ahead to free agency. And did Tayukin accept? He did not. Come on, Tayukin. You are the starter of the future for this team. I will even be trading the other goaltender so you can take over that starting job if that's what you're worried about. I'll do a 5-year deal at 5.75. Soon I might have to just qualify him, but I still want a 5-year deal if I can. Let's see if he'll accept that. And he did accept, apparently, because it says he got re-signed. There you go. Perfect. So we have $29 million in cap space, and I think $9 million of it is going to be spent on Brossoit, and then we have $20 million in cap space. We have a lot of flexibility cap-wise to make some good stuff this offseason. I like that. Let's see if Brossoit will accept the 1-year deal. He rejected it. Okay, so he's going to want more money than he's asking for. Because these RFAs aren't going to ask for too much money. And then Brossoit, let's see what we could get you for. 1-year deal. I know some of you guys are going to think I'm overpaying again, but he's only getting a 1-year deal, so. And he accepts 9.75. Some RFAs accept. We have $21 million in free agency money. Well, some of it's going to be spent on these guys, but we have a lot of flexibility to bring in some decent players in this offseason and hopefully take this team into a playoff team. So we could get up more cap space by trading away Ron Torres. I'd say that's probably a good option because then we could run Tayukin and find ourselves just an average backup goalie like 82, 83 overall. So there's something. Defensively, we have currently under contract, we have Jokela, Brunstrom, Kelpinen, Hutton, Kachuk, and I guess we need another defenseman. Leonardo Nets dropped to a 75 randomly, but he's probably actually a 79. Kachuk should be an 83. And then Hutton shouldn't be too bad either. Like, a lot of these guys will probably get some overall boost, my guess, when the season actually starts. So, technically, we have our 6th defenseman. We could use a 7th defenseman. We could try and upgrade some areas if we want to as well. And then right wing-wise, we got Brossoit, Recchi, Zubris, and that's it, pretty much. Left wing-wise, we got Gustafson, Coburn, Huxley. So there is 3. There is 6. Yeah, there is 6. And then center-wise, we have Vance, Reefers, Ziska, Burish, Martins, and that's it. So I think we have like 11 roster players, so there is room for us to sign some more forwards. Obviously, it's not the deepest looking forward course, so I think a big-name free agent signing might be really good for this team. I would say probably more in the second line type of role because I think Recchi's starting to be in that territory where he's going to be like a third liner. And he's making a lot of money, so we could always trade him and free up more cap space, but I don't really know. Let's take a look at what's available, though, free agency-wise and trading block-wise, and then that'll be it for this episode because we're already pretty late into this episode. I'm really hoping that my Elgato didn't freeze because if it did freeze, I will be kind of mad. Like I said, we could also look for a new head coach, too, if we really want to. I just want your guys' opinion on that because first, let's take a look at the coaching thing. Anze Kopitar has been not that great of a coach the last few years, and I don't really know why. He's a good team fit guy, but if we look at his full career stats, like since this 51-win season, it's just getting worse in every year, and his playoff numbers are still not great either, so maybe we'll look to replace Anze Kopitar. So there's that. Let's take a look at the free agent pool and see if there's a big name free agent we could potentially bring in. And center-wise, what do we got? UFA2. We have Keeping, who is the best UFA center. 26 overall, two-way forward, or not 26 overall, 26 years of age, two-way forward. Wants $12 million. That's a lot of money. But he is the best guy available in free agency. There's also Outlaw, who's an 86. Not really the best in terms of center depth, looks like. Adamski, who we traded away, did hit to free agency, so he didn't re-sign with the Pittsburgh Penguins. He only had 17 points in 41 games down the stretch. Yeah, when we signed Adamski to his contract, I think that's when the team started to fall apart, which is weird. So I don't know if there's a center I would really bring in, but if you guys see anybody, don't hesitate to let me know. So there is all that. We head to left wing wise. The best is Spencer Lee, former Vegas Golden Knight, 87 overall at 31. Bales is back in free agency again, which is kind of funny. It's not really the best free agent pool, which kind of sucks because we have the money to spend. So Patterson's back in free agency as well. So there's that. Right wing wise, what do we got? Kasper Halttonen's back in free agency, and he only wants 1 year. We know that he just won a Conn Smythe and a Stanley Cup in Seattle. Is he worth bringing back for 1 year? How's that guy? He's kind of like a first-line forward, though, is the only thing, so I don't really know. I do not know about that. Backlund, yeah, it's not the best free agent pool in terms of forwards at all, which is not great. I was thinking it was going to be much better than this, but maybe next year is the year. Defensively, do we got any good defenders? Not really. Our former defenseman that we drafted in Solovyov, former 5th round pick of ours, he's in free agency. He's the top defenseman as an 84. Yeah, this is a pretty barren free agent class, which really, really sucks. And best goaltenders, because we probably will need a backup if we do trade away the other goaltender. Like we'd probably be looking at somebody like Backstrom. He's an 83 overall backup, wants not a lot of money. He's 25, butterfly goaltender. Not the best stats, but still, he would be an okay backup. There's also Heino, who would be probably a solid backup. Darling, Komitov, and some 81s as well, like Hago, Scavello again, Gustavo Blackburn, who we literally traded away recently. He's in free agency after playing with Vegas. He had a great year with Vegas. Maybe I should have held on to him. So there is all that. Rudy Pitten's also in free agency. Been a while since I've seen his name. So there is the free agent pool. And finally, the trading block. And then that'll be it. That will be it. So, what do we got? Anything intriguing to trade for? Not really seeing anything so far. This offseason might look like the most barren offseason I've seen in terms of free agency and what's on the block. Because I'm not seeing anything other than picks so far, which is kind of strange. Gunderson, no thank you. That guy's not that great. Fortier, those guys are just kind of like third liners at best. McClellan is decent, but $13 million for the next 4 years. He's also just a two-way. I don't really know about that. Does put up okay points, but he's not an insane offensive player. I don't know if he's really worth $13 million. Nesbitt at $7 million for 1 year. He's okay. He actually puts up a good amount of goals. 61 points. Yeah, Nesbitt's an okay player. I don't know if I'd be bringing him in of anybody, but he's a solid scorer. Yeager and Gervais, don't really know about them. Anything else intriguing? Pody on defense, no thank you at that price. Hoyle on defense, don't know about that. Yeah, there's like not as much as I was hoping for. Wiseman, who's a grinder, puts up some points, but also takes some penalty minutes. He's got an unstoppable force as a grinder. That's actually kind of cool. I don't really know if that's something I would want, though. Leo Carlson, still 1 year left. Olofsson, power forward, 84 overall. Second liner, 30-goal season last year. Might be decent. Former 17th overall pick of the Preds. Not the best overall player, but still probably the best in free agency, or not in free agency in the trading block. 2-2, making way too much money to trade for him. Person on 4 years left is kind of expensive too. 36 goals though last year is pretty nice. Had a 43 goal season 1 year too. So this guy's a proven goal scorer. But that contract is kind of gross. And kind of scaring me away from him. So yeah, I don't really know if there's anything to trade for even. But we do definitely need something to add to this roster, because I think obviously like we'll probably run like a lineup of top line of Reefers, Brossoit, Vance still. Second line, I'm thinking right now still needs a second line center. I would probably do Recchi, Coburn, and somebody between the two of them. Third line would probably be Gustafsson, Ziska, Martins maybe, or maybe Zubris even. And then Zubris would be on the fourth line with a couple other guys. And then defensively, obviously, we'd probably be doing like Jokela, maybe one of the younger guys like Kachuk, Brunstrom, Kaupinen. Benino is not going to be NHL rise. Knights will probably be on our top 6. Hutton will probably be in the NHL for sure. Yeah, it's very interesting at this point in time with our team. We're definitely building up a good team, though, I think. Huxley and Bursch probably will be in the NHL as well, which means I think we might actually have a good amount of forwards, but I don't really know if I want to put Bursch as a second-line center between a good young player like Coburn. I'd probably rather put a good veteran between the two of them. We could always go to Vance as the #1 center and Reefers as the second-line center. That's something we could do. So split up the two of those guys. So it goes Vance, Brossoit, maybe Coburn as the top line. I know that puts 2 good goal scorers on the same line though, is the thing. So we kind of want to split them up. So maybe we do Vance, Brossoit, Gustafsson. Then we go Reefers, Recchi, Coburn. And then, yeah, the rest of that could be adjusted accordingly. But maybe we just swap Vance and Reefers and make sure the two of them don't play together, because we know Vance could win faceoffs. So separating the two of them might be something we want to do for the last few years of their career potentially. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Chicago Blackhawks franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll take it to free agency. We'll probably make some coaching changes, trades, some signings, some other stuff to just try and get this team to being as good as possible for next season and hopefully making the playoffs. And we do also now have multiple first rounders for next year, which means hopefully the Pittsburgh Penguins fall apart and we get a very high up pick potentially with that selection. So anyways, link that below, and I'll see you guys next time.